Hello everyone, just been digging a tunnel in the nether, just collecting a bit of nether quartz. I'm going to need a lot of quartz. I'll see why in a bit. Let's just head back up. So what I'm planning to work on for this episode is to begin... Oh, I could turn that off. Oh yeah, before I forget, something I've been wanting to mention since I was editing the last episode that I was in the nether. I do not have night vision in the nether. When I enter the nether I get a flash of it, but then it disappears. And the reason for that is because this doesn't work in the nether. Now, cave crystals in the nether give negative effects, so I'm glad it doesn't do that, but it just fails to give the positive effect. I presume that's universal. Anyway, this episode I'm going to be starting work on... Hooray! Rendering ends. On constructing the proper magical crops farm. So let's just head into the... Wow, the rendering errors. So happens because I've been playing today for a while when I just started to record. Oh wow, half of a book. I've got so many diamond crops now, it's not even funny. So you can all go away. Right. So what I'm going to do is just... well, first of all I'll show you over here. This is where I'm going to build it. I've decided that I'm going to lay these things out roughly like a larger version of this. So something like 2.5 times the size of that if mapped over here. That point would be about here. So that point will be over here and I'll do it over there. So it's not going to be mapped directly to that, but that's going to be the kind of where I lay it out. And over here is where I've decided I would build it. It is designed, the entire structure doesn't fit into a chunk, but all the workings of the structure fit into the chunk. So there will be lily pads of fertility on the edges of the chunk, and then there will be the walls holding back the water will be outside that, but that doesn't matter. I just want to only have to load one chunk. So what I'm going to do is come out of my mod pack because I'm going to show you something else entirely. The screen shape may have changed because I haven't got the same settings on Feed the Beast as I have on my Technic platform. So yeah, this is my Feed the Beast monster world. I have no idea where I left it. Probably inside my base. This could take a while. Yeah, inside my base. Load. Right. Whoop. Going really fast because of my power armor. Yeah, this place is a mess. I used to have my Mac here, but I've rearranged a bunch of stuff. The Mac is actually now down here. Look at this power setup. Steam power, rubbish. There's my Mac. This is all I need. Anyway, that's not what I came here to show you. You know, I haven't found a single lag. I haven't found a single essence berry bush so far in my mod pack. That's Cursed Earth Spawner. That's the sort of thing I'll be setting up at some point. But yeah, this place is a mess. Conduits and stuff everywhere. There's leadstone as well. It's terrible. Anyway, what I came to this world to show you. Oh, lag, lag, lag. So this is part of the reason I stopped playing on Monster. Because I got fed up with the trouble it was having running it. So over here, this is my magical crop tower. So I've got all kinds of crops here, all laid out. 3x3, 4 per level. Total of 44 farms. One of them's another walk. So oil crop, which I kind of cheated in. I mean, I threw away equivalent materials, but... So that's that. This is pretty horrendous inside. These are covers and there's conduits and stuff inside there. So if I come down under here, this was an aesthetic touch. A little mossy down at the water level. Where is my trapdoor? There it is. So this has a dedicated ME system. Why has that got oak saplings? I have no idea why that has oak saplings on it. So yeah, you can see that harvests everything. That seeds get exported back into planters, and then everything else goes through this enter chest into my main ME system. I do not plan to use ME in my mod pack. I am going to use, you see up there you can see that there's let's just open this up and look inside. See all that in there? ME's going up the middle. So yeah, I will be building a tower. It's vaguely similar to this. I did play around with, well, I suppose now it's time to switch back to my mod pack, go to my test world to show you these things. But yeah, this is my monster world, and if anyone's interested in seeing any more of this, I can do some videos about it if anyone wants me to. Anyway, so here we are in my test world. This was the first sort of thing I tried. This is 15 by 15 functional area, so all of that, and then it's got 16 there. So some of this lies outside the chunk boundary, but this is what I did initially. So if we go underneath, you can see that's all connected into there. So that would have been one planter and one harvester per layer, and that works, but the planter can't properly distribute to 4 things since it has a 3x3 grid if you want to specify placement, and also because it's such a large area this takes forever to scan over it. So then I was experimenting a bit with layout, having 4 planters so that it could do 4 separate crops, same thing here, and trying to get the ME and the conduits into the same layer was a pain in the rear. So that was that. And then more testing here, 2 layers, that wasn't too bad. And then I looked at this, tried a few different layouts, came up with this layout, 5x5s, overlapping at the corners. Well, not overlapping, that's the point, I don't want them overlapping, so they don't share any blocks, but that would be, which then led me on to the layout. Actually no, I skipped a bit. I did this, which worked fairly well, but again, took forever for the harvester to scan the whole area. And this is the point at which I moved into using Ender.io, because that means I can just fit everything into single spaces. And that worked fairly well. That's with ME. And then I decided against using ME, and I came up with this layout, this design, which has 4 harvesters in the middle. It's got conduit facades, so there's conduits running up there. I'll show you the workings inside this in a minute. When I MCH'd this, I didn't copy the water, which was silly. And I did the tree design, which I thought was quite good, because I was trying to think what to make it out of, and I thought the leaves and the wood worked quite well. But then when I stacked it up, it really doesn't look very tree-like at all. So I decided I didn't like that. So then I reworked it with quartz. And this, I think, is what I'm going to go with. It's going to take a lot of quartz, a hell of a lot of quartz. But I like it. I think it looks quite good. So we've got all the lily pads procedure on that side. We've got the 5x5 areas, got the harvesters there. Underneath we've got the planters with conduits running through there. And if I just switch to that, we can see the conduits inside there. So we've got power and empowered item conduits going into the planters, because they can be set to export specific ones. And then up the centre we've got all the different ones going up there. And then in here we've got fluid conduits, so I can get the sludge out. And if I just take this out, so you can see in there, oh, there's an ME conduit in there, stray one. So yeah, empowered item conduits, fluid conduits, and energy conduits all in there. So that's that. This is one unit of it. I couldn't make that as tall as I want, but I think that's probably how tall I'm going to make it. So that's what I'm going to go with, and there will be 10 layers of these. And then the system at the top will basically just be, well, all I need is a tesseract to send items and fluids and receive power. That's all it'll take. So I've been working on some stuff here in preparation. This is Ender.io stuff, so I've got that set up. I've got an interface set up here so I can make these, which are components of the conduits. So I've got these all set in here inside the Mac. Got a bunch of stuff set up. I've already made the 40 harvesters and planters that I will need. That was really expensive, used a ton of mimicite. Fortunately I can afford a ton of mimicite because I've got the ingredients. That's my redstone, pretty good. That's doing well. Oh yeah, I'll put a sludge boiler in down there. And then what else? I guess there isn't a lot else. Obviously I'm going to have to remove that slime island. I'm going to have to decide how high up I want this thing, because this is going to be 50 or 60 blocks high. And given the, well, whatever I decide the thickness to be, the height of each layer. But yeah, this is going to be where I'm going to build it chunk wise. I basically came to 100, 200, or 100 minus 200, and decided which chunk I was in. That's this chunk, so I just outlined it. So I only need load one chunk. So Yeah, I am going to need a lot of quartz. Check it out, I didn't realise this was here. Huh. So yeah, I've just finished a few with the skeletons. No, look, getting skulls, wasn't really expecting to. It would have been nice. So I'm not entirely sure why. I don't need one of those than that. Why I'm bothering to mine in the Nether. Too expensive? Okay. Do that. And that'll be another 36. Might as well. Good, I have loads of XP saved up. 36. Because chest's invisible again. I've got a perfectly good nether-like age here, where it's much easier I mean, it's stormy, but as these things go, it's fairly unhazardous. Fairly. So yeah, I guess I'll mine some quartz here. I should come back with Tinker's tools. Get through this much faster. Well, well. Look at all this meat. Whoa, that was close. This is definitely one of the weirder things about MFR, that meat comes in the form of slimes. In fact, it comes in the form of a liquid, which spawns into slimes and depletes in doing so. It's pretty weird. Oh, that's curious. I blame Herobrine. Here we go, you can see it in action. There's another one, there's another one. It depletes as it turns into slimes. It's pretty weird. And even more. There's a ton of it here. And now I should find my way out. Let's just have a good look around. Ooh, library. Let's do that while I'm here. I don't know whether skeletons can spawn on this, you know. Not sure whether... Oh, hello, there's a chest there. Whoa. Place spawner. Place spawner. I've checked these aren't close enough to make a double farm, sadly. So yeah, I don't see any nether fortress mobs at all, to be honest. Let's just put this in over here, so I can just dump all the stuff. Because I can afford to have a levels 27, that's not bad. So I can afford to have another small army system running at the moment. That's not a problem. So I've just worked out how much quartz I'm going to need for the whole thing, just to build it, not counting fused quartz for the conduits. And it's about 170 odd stacks. So it's going to take me a while. I can build the basic structure and replace it with quartz later. And how much have I got? 100. So I've got 11,000 and I've got 500,000. Just grab all of it. And what's the recipe for that? 8 with 5. So I could make another stack with this since I've got. So yeah, I need a lot more. I need about 25 times as much as I've got, probably. So that's going to take a while. So I've edited together all the previous footage, and I think this is going to be the end of the episode. I'm just going to finish it off by going through, because I've worked out all the materials I'm going to need. I'm going to need 237 energy conduits, 237 item conduits, 87 fluid conduits, which are going to require 132 nether quartz. Those are subject to change depending on where I put the tesseract. Because I've been playing around with the positioning of it and how it works, and yeah. But I'm probably going to go with that. 124 carpenters slopes, 142 conduit facades, 1 tesseract, 40 harvesters and 40 planters, 1 spot loader, 1,000 lily pads of fertility, 1,000 fertilised dirt, 1,000 quartz stairs, 1,560 quartz slabs, and 378 pillar quartz blocks. Total nether quartz I'm going to need 10,804. Quite a lot. I did try to use carpenter's stairs, which would have been then texturable using a slab, and so would have saved on materials. But if you try and use carpenter's partial blocks next to water, it does this, which is something I found when I was trying to design the roof on the prism. I could do it with micro blocks, but that's probably overkill, because frankly the amount of quartz I'm going to need by the time I've built the core structure and got my nether crops planted, I'm going to be getting a decent income of nether quartz, well, nether items which I can turn into quartz, so it's not a big deal. I was also worried for a time about the seeds backing up, which statistically would happen after 100,000 odd harvests for each planter, but it's kind of not a big deal. I am considering putting deep storage units in, which is something I can do later because it's going to take about 130 hours of constant playtime for it to back up statistically, and if I then put deep storage units in, it's not going to back up for, well, ever basically. So I'll probably do that eventually when I've had it running and therefore have all the materials. I mean, deep storage units aren't terribly expensive. I could probably make some now, but machine frames which aren't expensive, plastic sheets which aren't expensive, strong boxes which aren't expensive. So, I mean, Tesseract frames as well. By the time I've got all the fields up and running, I'll probably have some Tesseract automation in place, so I'll be able to craft them in bunches. But yeah, anyway, that is going to be it for this episode. If you've enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, share, favourite and comment, help support the channel, subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.